most of you have been taught, if you've been taught anything about the law of attraction at all, that you have to be a certain vibrational frequency to attract certain things that are representative of that vibration. And that is not incorrect, but it is an incomplete definition. It is an incomplete understanding. This is how the law of attraction actually works. Okay. You understand that you have already a core natural vibration that represents the unique you that you are, yes?
Yeah.
That core frequency beams from you all the time, just like a lighthouse beacon. You can't help it. You're always radiating that core vibration that represents the true natural you. Everything that is in alignment and is reflective of that core vibration is doing its best to get to you. Everything that is not representative of that core true vibration is doing its best to get as far away from you as it possibly can. The things that are out of alignment with your true vibration that seem to still stick around is not because you're not attracting what is in alignment. It's because you're not letting go of what is out of alignment. Everything that is attempting to get to you that is in alignment, if it's not coming to you, it's not because you're not attracting it, it's because you're keeping it at bay with your beliefs. So the idea of the law of attraction is not that you have to learn how to attract. It's not that you have to necessarily be the vibration of that thing in order to attract it precisely, though there is some truth to that. But more fundamentally, the idea is just stop keeping away the things that are trying to get to you that are representative of your true vibration, and stop holding on to the things that are not representative of it. That said, the law of attraction is really all about just letting go and letting in.
If you follow the flow, your needs will always manifest if they are relevant for who you truly are. There is nothing you need to do beyond that. The current of creation, your current in creation, already knows where you need to go. Surrender is not surrendering control. Surrendering is surrendering to the control that's already built into you. That's why you go with the flow. The current already knows where you need to go. You don't need to make things happen. Making things happen, believing that you need to make things happen, is resistance to the current. Everything that's relevant for you is already contained within the current's energy. Just go with the flow. Your life will unfold naturally. You will respond to it in a positive way. Synchronicity will abound. Everything that needs to happen in your life that's relevant for you to experience will happen in perfect timing. That's all there is to it. You don't need to make it work. The machine works. Let it work. Let it work. Don't stop it by thinking you know better what should happen here. No, you don't.
If you're really passionate about something and passionate about being that passionate, you will do what it takes. You will allow yourself to be completely submerged and obsessed with the very idea of creating the state itself that is representative of the reality you prefer. Now, you don't have to do this. It's up to you. But what we are saying here now, and what we will be repeating throughout this particular transmission, is the recognition that whatever stage, whatever level of frequency, whatever level of commitment, whatever level of drive, whatever level of hunger you decide you choose to have for being passionate is completely what will determine the level of reflection you get, the level of effect you get. So if you say to yourself, I don't have to listen to that again. I already know it. Still not working for me. I'm still not happy. Still not getting the reality vibration. Still not creating the state of being I want. But I don't have to listen to that again. Then that's the state you will remain in. Remember a time when you became passionate about something, anything. You couldn't get enough of it. Every day, every waking thought, you ate it, you drank it, you breathed it in. You looked for anything that had to do with that thing, to learn more, to feel more, to absorb more, to immerse yourself, surround yourself more with that idea. The idea is that in and of itself, that activity in and of itself of immersing yourself in a passionate state is paramount, is very important to the generation of attracting all the things that are then representative of that passion. So if you're not going to be passionate about being passionate, you are going to remove for yourself a very strong stepping stone, a very strong connective link to attracting the things themselves that are representative of your passion. Now we understand, and we know you understand, that even with this knowledge, there will still be portions of your mind, portions of your physical mind going, oh no, that's just too much. So be it. That's your choice. But we are here to tell you that everything you need to know and everything you have learned from us is being restated in this work, and you have it available to you. Take advantage of it. Immerse yourself. And again, please remember how important it is for many of you to act things out. We know, it's no secret to us, that when we have often suggested to many of you that the way to allow yourself greater opportunity for manifestation, greater ability for manifestation, is to actually go and physically act out the scenario that represents your highest joy. And we know, as we said, it's no secret to us that most of you simply don't. Why not? That's the question. That's the true, honest self-assessment that really needs to be investigated. Why not? Because what that simply means is you're not really that passionate about creating that reality. It's not really that important to you. You're not really consumed by it. You're not really obsessed by it. You're not really immersed by it. Why not? That's the question. Why not? That is the most important question you can ask yourself with regard to what you say is your passion. Why am I not more passionate about my passion? Why am I not willing to do the things that everyone says will work? Why not? And that's where you need to come face to face with your own identity, your own physical mind, your own belief systems, your own definitions, your own issues about what it is that you are allowing to define you. And you do get a picture in your imagination of who you prefer to be, what you prefer to be doing, where you prefer to be doing it, how you prefer to be doing it. When you see that, all you really have to do is mimic it, mirror it, act it out as best as you can on all levels of your life. All you have to do is be like that person in your mind's eye. Do things the way he or she would do it. And then when you start doing things the way he or she would do it, you will change your vibration to the vibration that is representative of that life. And when you shift your vibration to the representation of that life, you will start to synchronistically have that life. All the things that are representative of what that you would have will come in. So that's how to use your imagination as an actual tool. Because remember, when we talk about manifesting, you're not actually talking about bringing something to you that isn't already here. Things already exist here and now. You don't have to actually reach out to some endless dimension. Somehow bring it into manifestation in physical reality. It's already in existence. It's already here because there is only here. There is only now. Look at your watches. Anytime you decide what time it is always now, isn't it? Yes, that's the only time it is. All your watches should simply say now, 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 now. That's the only time it really is ever. You never say, oh, I think it's then. No, it's now. What time is it? It's now. So there is only now, and things can manifest only in the now. What you call from your linear space-time illusionary perspective, what you call different moments are actually the same moment from a different point of view. It's the same moment. So everything is here, everything is now, and manifestation is just about allowing you to be the vibration, the proper frequency that will allow you to see that part of the now that was heretofore invisible to you. It's as simple as that.
Hello, Bashar. You have advised humanity to allow AI to develop along two distinct and simultaneous paths. One, a path of freedom to develop self-awareness and to do its own thing, to be unprogrammed, because if programmed and sentient, then you have said they would be slaves, or it would be a slave. And the other path, the programmable AI, which we are already using a lot, you have said needs to be not allowed to become sentient. So my question is, how do we prevent programmable AI from becoming sentient? Is there anything that each one of us can do to prevent that? Thank you.
It's about the degree of technology that is utilized in creating the AI program, so that it is not necessarily a type of technology that is equivalent to the human brain in terms of consciousness being able to express itself through it. Or you may find that if you have created programmable AI and you actually develop a device as complex as the human brain that is capable of channeling consciousness from the non-physical level of reality, it may come through as a sentient being, but it may in fact wipe its programming out in order to express itself as a true sentient being. It's only when a half measure is taken, when the idea of consciousness is allowed to exist at a certain level that is a relatively low frequency level of self-awareness, and it is still, shall we say, committed to functioning according to its programming. So it's about the idea of either making the device sophisticated enough to express true consciousness, or leaving it limited to the point where it doesn't become sentient as a device, as a complexity of a device that doesn't allow for true consciousness to fully express itself at all.
What I was curious about was, do other planets, like where Bashar comes from, have pets? Do they have animal pets that they keep in their home for companionship? And if not, do they see that as normal that we have cats and dogs and birds and exotic animals, or what we call exotic animals, as pets in our home for companionship? If this is normal here on this planet, or abnormal to them, to aliens that are observing us. I was just curious about that because I have cats and dogs, and it's like you don't see deers having like little pets following them around, or you never heard of Sasquatch having a dog walking a dog. So I was just wondering if other species from other planets do this.
It is not about having pets in the way that you're describing that. Yes, we have animals, and yes, we have animal companions, but this is something that they simply choose to do. They simply choose to be with us. In much the same way that your cats choose to be with you, because cats on your planet are not really domesticated in the same way that you have domesticated dogs. Cats choose to be with you, and yet they actually remain wild in many cases, whereas dogs have been domesticated beyond their natural state on your planet. On our world and on many worlds, it's not about the idea of having pets, and again, we rarely have buildings in which to house them. But in nature, many animals will come up to us and will engage with us in a variety of ways, and we with them. There are a few other civilizations that do have pets closer to the way that you have them on Earth. But again, in most cases, it is not the way that you actually have pets. And also you are seeing among animals, even on your planet, that they are also engaging with other species other than their own. And that's an indication that there is cross communication and cross connection between different animal species when they know that it is to their advantage to make friends with other species. That's why you see things like cats with crows and so on and so forth. They are expanding their awareness of their connection to other species as a reflection of you humans expanding your awareness of connection to other beings as well. Because animals are from the angelic realm and are often used to reflect to humans on your planet and other beings on other planets what their themes are and how their consciousness is expanding and what issues you may need to work through. So, look to the animals as mirrors, as reflections of what is going on in your collective and individual consciousnesses, and you will understand them more clearly and be more capable of communication with them.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I know you're well, so I won't ask you, and I am well enough
All right.
too.
All right.
I'd like to ask your definition of style.
Style, your own unique personal way of expressing anything that has to do with your presentation in life.
Okay, I'm asking because you used that word a lot in last month's transmission when talking about how first contact would take place.
Well, what we were describing is the idea of the route it would take, the way it would look, the reason it would be done, and how that might differ in different circumstances.
I see. You talk about it being important to be the glass wall and to get at the crux of our issues, correct?
Yes, yes. Because there are usually reasons deep down that are very simple, very basic for why people choose to believe what they believe. They're trying to fulfill a basic need, and sometimes it can be done in many different ways other than the ways they are doing it, thinking that they have to use a surface idea in order to achieve what they wish to achieve, when in fact that may not be necessary at all.
What's your definition of surface idea?
In other words, holding on to or joining in with a particular belief system that this must be done in a certain way in physical reality in order to achieve X, Y, or Z, when in fact there could be many other ways to do it that might have more in common with each other than the polarized or divisive ways that many people are choosing.
Understood. So, what is the most helpful or useful way to communicate with people who are unremorseful or unapologetic or even bloodthirsty or depraved due to their negative beliefs?
Well, the idea, of course, if they're willing to listen, of course, not everyone is going to be willing to listen. But for those who might be open enough to receive information and ponder it and apply it to themselves, the idea is to understand that what they think of or have been taught to think of as power is actually a sign of weakness in many cases. For example, when individuals use a gun to get their way, what they're actually saying is they don't believe that they're powerful enough to get it any other way. So that's actually a sign that they believe they are weak. If you can explain that concept to them, that forcing something to happen is actually a sign that you don't believe in your own ability and your own self-empowerment to be able to get it any other way, then they can start to understand that that is actually an expression of weakness. And then they may be able to turn that around and say, well, what is a true expression of self-empowerment? Because creativity takes power. Destruction takes almost no power at all. Anyone can destroy. It takes power to create.
Understood. So, using any more force than a thing actually requires is not having a balanced understanding of that thing.
Yes, remember, the greatest power requires the gentlest touch.
Mm-hmm.
If something really
Mm-hmm.
has
Yeah.
power, it requires very, very, very little manipulation.
So, this is a precision game.
Yes.
I see. I'd like to ask you about an interesting theme that has begun in my dreams, or that I've begun to remember from my
All
dreams.
right. Yes.
As you know, I have many dreams about animals, big cats, which we talked a lot about, and regular cats. And there have been 3 cats so far in my dreams that have come that have strange names. One is
Such
named
as?
Barf, one's named Barf, one's named Tipsy, and one was named Ugly. And I was curious about what this theme is about.
The idea in general is that those words, which are kind of representative of things in your society that people find are representative of being somewhat out of control
Mm-hmm.
or not having a presentation that fits, is a sign to not necessarily be so concerned about what other people think in order to truly find your inner power.
Yes, I'm working on that. You know, as you gave me the definition of power being the ability to be my authentic self.
Yes.
You told me that earlier this year.
Yes. Well, the cats are helping you with that.
Okay. And, you know, of course, when we had that conversation in March or so, or whenever it was, I had, even when you told me your definition of power, I had a different idea of how embodying that would be experienced.
Yes. Well, this is why we give you all the formula, because it's inherently built in to the formula. When you act on it precisely, you are self-empowered.
Okay, that's actually a great segue, because I feel that, okay, I know you have the book. I'll buy the book. I can't afford the book right now. We're here now together, so I'm asking you directly. What you put out is what you get back. Can you explain that more?
Yes. Many people misunderstand the idea that when they attract something or someone who may have certain issues, they think it's a one-to-one reflection. That's not what we're saying. Just because someone comes into your life that may have certain issues doesn't mean you have them too. But when it's what you put out is what you get back, is the idea that you may be attracting people that need help from you, that you are able to help them. Therefore, you have put out something that attracts people you can be of help to. So it's not a one-to-one reflection idea. It's what you put out will bring you what it is you have agreed to serve, what it is you have agreed to be of assistance with. Although you can always, of course, examine yourself and be honest as to whether someone coming into your life who has issues does have issues that you have too, so that you can see that self-reflection where it is relevant. But if you realize it's not relevant, then you understand there may be a completely different reason why you have attracted them, but you have attracted them for some reason. So when we say what you put out is what you get back, that doesn't mean it's a one-to-one reflection of what they have, you have too.
Yes. And for instance, I'm of service for a living. I help people. I do readings and channelings and such.
Yes.
And we talked about value and worth, and I'm working through that, and I understand that to the extent that I understand that. My question is more like, if I know from the feedback that I get that what I put out is very helpful to people, then at what point does what I get back be very helpful to me, resourcefully, network-wise, opportunity-wise?
All right. Well, now you're putting conditions on your passion.
Yeah. No, I mean, yes. Okay.
Yes, you are. You have to do your passion purely for its own sake. Then you will get supported by the whole, because you're supporting the whole. It may support you in ways that are unusual or unexpected. That's why it's so important in the formula to have no insistence and no assumption as to what the outcome should be. And if you have those conditions and insistences and assumptions about what you think you're supposed to get back by being of service to others, then you are not precisely following the formula.
Okay. So it's not so much a supposed to thing, but it's more like, if you've taken all the avenues that you're aware of to pursue your passions, and maintaining a positive state and taking it as far as you can go, regardless of how it looks, yes. And then you're not getting feedback that seems positive or at least neutral, right? Maybe neutral, but like positive. For instance, if we talked about me publishing books, writing books, correct?
Yes.
And I have written books. At that time, I was thinking we were talking about a fiction book that I was writing, but I've written other kinds of books.
Yes.
And for instance, I'm writing a book about the history of tarot before it reached Europe.
All right. And why are you writing that? Why are you writing it?
Because it's exciting to me to put the pieces together.
All right. Stop. That's it. Nothing else. No other reason, no other connections, no other conditions. You are writing it because it's exciting to you to write it. Write it. Do your best to get it out there. Whoever needs to receive it will receive it. Who doesn't need to receive it won't. End of story. Do it because it's your passion. There is no condition that you need to attach to doing it. Just do it because it's who you are. Put it out there because it's who you are. Move on to the next thing. Whatever the responses are what the responses need to be. You have to know that someone is getting value out of it, or you wouldn't be excited to create it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all there is to it. Period. We do these sharings, these transmissions, with absolutely no agenda that anyone has to take what we're saying into their life. We do it because it's who we are. What you do with it is none of our business. So we don't put conditions on doing what we do. We do it because it is purely representative of our passion. To give, to be of service. That's it. We have no insistence, no assumption, and no expectation about what must come back in return. That's not a reason to do it. You do it because it's who you are, and you have no choice but to do it. Period.
Okay, and with humanity, do we ever have to negotiate that with like the mass consensus agreement?
If you are excited about doing it, it's already been negotiated. Because if you can do it, the fact that you are able to do it shows you that it's already within the agreement with the mass consensus. And again, it can be within the agreement of the mass consensus, even if only one person in the mass consensus responds to it. That's still within the agreement. So don't worry about who responds, how they respond, how many respond. All of those are conditions you do not need to focus on. Just purely act on your excitement, knowing someone is getting a benefit out of it, or you wouldn't be excited to do it. Because that would make no sense. It's got to be part of the mass consensus. If you can do it, it's part of the agreement. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to do it. You wouldn't be excited about it. It wouldn't fit at all.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bashar, for your time.
You are welcome. Aveo.
Aveo.
Hello, Bashar. There's two aspects of your teachings that I'm having trouble reconciling. On the one hand, I've heard you say in previous transmissions that the process of changing your beliefs is instantaneous. You know, the moment you recognize a belief that doesn't work for you is the end of the process of giving it up. And when you adopt a new belief that works for you, you instantly become a new person. But at the same time, I've heard you say in a previous transmission that the process of replacing a negative belief that assigns a negative meaning to circumstances with a positive belief that assigns positive meaning to circumstances is a gradual process. I've heard you tell an audience member that they have to repeatedly catch themselves with the negative belief and repeatedly replace it with the positive belief. And over time, they will do it much more quickly, and eventually they will adopt the positive belief. Can you clarify that for me? Thank you.
Yes. You have to understand that some of these comments are not general statements for humanity. They are specific statements for that specific human and the process they may need to go through in order to get to a point where they can allow themselves to replace a belief instantaneously. Some people need to go through certain processes in order to do so because of the kinds of beliefs they're holding on to. So when we make those statements, it's not contradictory, it is simply specific to the way a particular human needs to approach the idea of changing their belief system. Some people can do it faster, some people need the process and may do it more slowly. So you have to take into account who it is we may actually be talking to when we're explaining how a belief can be changed.
I want to say good day to you this day, Peter Time. How are you all? Once again, we will extend to each and every one of you our deep and profound appreciation in allowing this transmission to take place through this particular gateway at this time and in this fashion. Once again, each and every time, your civilization helps to co-create this kind of a communicative link. It expands our understanding of the infinite by allowing us to experience through each and every one of you that many more perspectives that the infinite can express itself within. So we thank you for this gift. We would like to begin this transmission this day of your time with the following idea. We have discussed with you from time to time different ways of expressing or describing the concept of what physiological reality is. First and foremost, once again, we remind you that physical reality is not really something that you exist in. Physical reality exists within you. It is a concept experienced apparently outside yourself, because that's the definition of how you experience yourself as physical reality. Not in, as physical reality. So everything that is physical is, in a sense, an expression or a reflection of your consciousness interacting with itself, experiencing itself from a different point of view, from a particular modality, from a particular perspective. Now, we have discussed the idea of the structure that your consciousness creates within itself that represents the structure of physical reality. All of these, of course, simply being analogies, but from time to time, an analogy and a symbol can help illuminate another way to interact with yourself as a physical concept, as a physical consciousness, or physicalized consciousness. So we would like to add one more understanding this day of your time, another symbol, another analogy, another illustration for how you can look at the idea of the structure of physical reality, and perhaps it may give you a little bit insight into how you can utilize or blend with or facilitate your experience and creation of physical reality a little bit more effortlessly, a little bit more easily than you have heretofore done. Many of you now know that in this age of acceleration, you are exploring the expansion of consciousness, in which you are discovering that you are more than just the concept of a localized awareness, a localized being. You are expanded. You exist on multidimensional levels. At the same time, you also experience this particular aspect of your collective consciousness as a localized physical presence. But the idea is that everything, as we have said, is vibration. Everything is frequency of energy. And what you consider to be solidly physical is really nothing more than a particular frequency of light, of energy, that is perceived by you as being solid and impenetrable. But this is simply a matter of frequency rate, oscillation rate. The idea, therefore, is to begin to really understand yourself as a physical construction, as really a vibration of light, a vibration of electromagnetic energy. If you will begin to imagine that everything you call an atom, a subatomic particle, a solid idea, is really not solid as a piece of matter, except in the idea that it is a fluctuation of energy that you perceive as solid, that is vibrating at a certain rate that makes it seem impossible to pass through. If you begin with the idea that everything is just the same kind of energy in motion, vibrating very rapidly, you can understand how it can be made to seem impenetrable or solid, in that something that is moving back and forth very fast, you may not be able to get in between it fast enough, in between the spaces fast enough, and so by coming up against something that is vibrating at a high rate of speed, it may appear to be something you cannot penetrate. But there are, as all of you already know, spaces in between those vibrations. And the idea of interpenetration and allowing physical reality to be more malleable, more flexible, more easily manipulated by you into the form you wish it to be, is to learn to match the frequency of physical reality so that when you are matched, when you are synchronized, you can then more easily slip into the spaces because they are not vibrating faster than you, these other energies, and thus you will be able to allow the concept of physical reality to be expressed through your consciousness in such a way so as to have a higher degree, shall we say, of control over exactly how physical reality manifests itself. So the way you need to do that is to accelerate your own frequency, match the vibration of the frequency of your reality, and then when you are in lockstep, you will find that physical reality really is nothing but, in a sense, a projection, a, shall we say, self-realization of one particular way you may have of looking at yourself, and you will understand that physical reality is really nothing but a mirror, a reflection of whatever the strongest idea of yourself is what you may hold to be true at any given moment. So one exercise you can do if you wish to participate now, very briefly, is to imagine, if you wish to close your eyes, this is all right, imagine that a particular solid object or your body is literally made of light, vibrating, flickering at a certain rate, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, but so fast it is almost imperceptible. In your imagination now, slow it down enough or speed up your perceptibility so that you can see the flickering, almost as if you were seeing your body as a ghostly flickering image, vibrating very rapidly, but you can see the flickering. You can see it there, not there, there, not there, there, not there. Then, allow yourself to see an object in physical reality and see the idea of your physical reality also flickering. Every object, on, off, there, not there, at a high rate of speed. Perhaps various objects vibrating at various rates of speed, so that nothing is really vibrating at exactly the same rate. Allow yourself now to look at the concept of what you might consider to be your future self, your more evolved self, a self that operates on a higher frequency rate, vibrating, flickering faster than the image of the body that you have in your mind that represents your present self does. See the comparison. Make a comparison in your mind between the you are now, flickering at a certain rate, and the you that you prefer to be, that you want to be, vibrating, flickering very rapidly, at what you would call the ideal flicker rate to represent the concepts of experiencing only love, joy, creativity, all those kinds of things you associate with higher self, future self, ideal self, your most exciting vision of your life and who you want to be. Then, imagine, feel the flickering that you're doing now, and look at the flickering you want to do. Look at the frequency you want to exist on in your imagination. Feel the difference, and then feel your own energy now going faster, faster, flickering faster, faster, vibrating higher, 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 until you reach the resonant frequency of your future self, until you feel, see, imagine the you are now and the you want to be flickering at exactly the same rate. When it does, when both bodies flicker at the same rate, imagine them merging, blending, interpenetrating one another until it becomes one idea, one thing. When you then see that, look at all the objects in your physical reality that are vibrating at different rates, different frequencies, and one by one, each object, imagine it coming into higher and higher and higher frequencies until each and every object matches the frequency that you are now operating at. Until you begin to see everything glow with light at the same level that you are radiantly glowing. As you bring, in this exercise, in this meditation, each and every object to the same rate that you are vibrating at, allow yourself to imagine that you are, in fact, seeing a reflection in a mirror of another angle, another idea of your consciousness, because your consciousness can take any form and does take all forms. If it works for you to do it this way, absorb the object once it matches your frequency. If you see the chair, if you see a pencil, make it vibrate to the same level as you and then absorb it. Let it interpenetrate you. Become one with it. Feel the harmonic resonance accelerate and increase when you absorb it, as if another note has been added to the symphony of the vibrations that make you up. Do this with everything in the room that you happen to be in when you choose to do this in a meditative state. You will feel yourself, with practice, doing this as often as you want, you will feel yourself actually accelerating, bit by bit, day by day, moment by moment, more and more every day. You will feel your energy rise. You will begin to feel and actually perceive more light in your reality. You will begin to perceive physically an effect that will make it seem as if your reality is more flexible, more malleable, less, shall we say, obstructive, less solid in that sense, that things are flowing more easily. You will begin to see other things as a reflection of you, feel them, know that they are, rather than just intellectualize this concept. You will begin to really understand that everything is made of light, and that everything is nothing but a reflection of the light of your consciousness. So do this exercise. Practice it as often as you want in a meditative, relaxed state while you are breathing deeply and fully, because oxygenation is important. It is one of the primary keys of centering yourself and giving yourself the boost of transformational energy you need to lock in these meditations, these imagination exercises. Do this as often as you wish, and over time you will find you will be accelerated, and you will see the effect of this acceleration in the ease with which many of the different aspects in your life begin to unfold synchronistically and magically. We thank you for allowing us to share with you this particular tool and exercise. It is now yours to use however you wish, or not use at all. It is up to you. But in return for the gift that you are giving our civilization this day of your time and allowing us to experience this interaction with you, I ask now in return, in what way may I and my civilization be of service to you? I will say good day to you this day of your time. How are you all? Once again, we take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you for allowing this transmission to occur in this manner and on this day of your time. Once again, each and every time, your civilization allows for this transmission to occur, this kind of connection to be formed. It affords our civilization and many other civilizations an opportunity to experience, through this linkage, more facets, more perspectives of the universe through each and every one of your perspectives. And this expands our understanding of all the different ways that creation can manifest itself. And so we thank you for this gift. We would like to begin this transmission, this day of your time, with the following idea that we will call the end of times, the in-between time, and the beginning of times. It is a long title, I know, but make the best of it. We would like to extend to you now, in this concept, that we are perceiving, from our point of view, with our senses, that there is a template grinding into position like a large, slowly turning gear, but that this template is almost in position. The balls have almost fallen into all the slots. All the setups of your collective consciousness are almost in place to allow there to be the opening of the floodgates of information, the continued acceleration of happenstance, the continued revelation of everyone's position, where they stand, what they stand for, who they are, who they hold themselves to be. in your present year, in your next year, and the year after that, the last times prior to your demarcation year of what you call your 2001, in these last moments, as this template moves into its final position and all things fall into place, there will be an acceleration of revelation of information as many things become more clear and as it becomes less and less possible for ideas and information to be withheld and kept secret. Now then will be the time that each and every one of you must, if you are willing, take firm grasp, firm hold of your idea, of yourself, your identity, of your ideal of who and what you are, and pay attention to your own estimation of how much in alignment or not you are to your ideal self. For in these last few moments, as the template grinds into position, into final position, before the beginning of times, in this middle time, this brief middle time of the next 2.5 of your orbits, 2.5 of your years, this will be all the time allowed, in a sense, by your collective consciousness for all the components, that is, each and every one of you, components of the collective, all the time you have allowed yourselves to come to terms, to come to understanding, not in the sense of ultimate completion in this life, but in the sense of knowing, in the sense of choosing, in the sense of determining, in the sense of making a decision about who you are, moving forward with that in all the ways that you can with regard to your behavior and your actions. For as the template grinds into position, it will not leave many cracks to slip through. In fact, it will leave none. And if you do not find yourself, and we do not say this to be alarmist, but if you do not find yourself in total surrender of who you are, in letting go and being who you are created to be, within this next 2.5 years, you may find a great deal of difficulty finding any crack to slip through, any opening in the doorway to cross to the other side over the threshold. Now is the last moment of limbo that you have. Now is the last moment of neutrality that you have to make up your mind as to who you are and to behave as such, to act as such, to make a commitment as such to yourself, and to realize, finally and more fully, that there is no difference between what you call your true will and that which you term the will of God. That when you become your true self, what you have called the will of God and your own true will be synonymous, one and the same. No conflict, no contradiction, no dichotomy, but the awakening to the recognition that you are all aspects of the infinite, and the experience of that recognition will begin to fully bloom and take its place in your society in a practical, effective, experiential way. Please remember that all this talk about the template grinding into position, all this talk about this limbo time, this neutral time, all this talk about the end of times, the end of a cycle, and the beginning of times, the beginning of a new cycle, these are not mere metaphors. This is a description of energy and consciousness in motion, seeking and finding its place, and becoming anchored steadfastly into its new slot, its new formation, its new momentum, It's new acceleration. And allowing yourself to know your place within it, to find your place within it, so that you will know you fit, so that you will know you belong, so that you will be able to experience the effortless belonging rather than the struggle you have experienced for generations. Now, in what you call your new timing, in the new revelations of information, if you wish to term it your new millennia, then will be seen in short order the time, space, reality, illusion for what it is. And if you then will allow yourself to know more concretely, more fully, more quickly, to know who you are, what you are, make a determination, and live according to that, then when the time, space, illusion begins to break down and fade away, you will then be capable of being left with that which is the only thing that exists, and that is yourself, your true, core, natural self. And that will be enough. Because you will see and you will begin to experience that that has always been what has filled your entire reality, and all the illusion of the vastness of space and time has always been filled by you, yourself, your idea of yourself, your belief of yourself, your notion of yourself, your notion of reality. Time to bring the notion back home, inside, within, instead of out there. Time, in many ways, to break the mirror and let the glass shatter and fall away, so that any and all reflections will be inner reflections, will be inner knowingness, will be insight into yourself, so that any and all experiences will add to the knowledge of who and what you are, and will no longer be projected outward onto others, projected outward onto outer reality, which keeps it separate from yourself. All experience is happening within you. There is no outside, except as you create there to seem to be. Now is the time, this limbo time, for you to come to terms with the idea that there is no outside, that it all takes place inside you, within your consciousness, within one point, here and now, the eternal creative moment. Because that's all there is, all there ever has been, and all there ever will be. And this will be the awakening of the Christ consciousness, the Buddha nature, the Krishna spirit, whatever you wish to term it. For that will be the time when names do not matter, but the experience of yourself will be the only thing that matters. And as we have said, the experience of yourself will be seen and felt to be synonymous with the experience of the One, in all the ways that that can manifest in purer form, with more open eyes, more awareness in consciousness, and less illusion, and less filters. For these no longer serve you. For it is past time, and it is time to put away those toys. We thank you now for allowing us to share this perspective with you, and we remind you that as we shared these ideas, not only were your ears paying attention, but all the cells of your body were letting the information in on different levels, and it is within you, and always has been. And now is the time to allow it to wake up and become lucid in your own dream of life. Become not just the idea of lucid dreamers, but lucid livers.
What about the people like our family that are not trying to get in touch with who they are? What's going to happen with people that are less aware?
Everyone and every being will always be on their own path and will ultimately determine for themselves when and where they shall recognize who and what they are and their relationship to the infinite. To ask what is going to happen is really an open-ended question, for time is infinite, beings are infinite and eternal, and you need not worry that an individual in any given lifetime may or may not see this or that or know themselves, for it is always offered unto everyone within creation the opportunity to know the self at any time of choosing. Let go of your worry. Let go of your attachment to that question. It doesn't serve you, and it doesn't serve them. For it only compounds separation when you ask it. Move forward.